Fucking mascot content. I swear to God, I hate brands doing mascot content. Hi everybody, my name is Blair. I do social strategy for a living. I have generated over 5 billion views over the past 8 years and spent over $5 million on behalf of companies on influencers and social strategies. Today I'm going to be looking at 5 random corporate social medias and I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list. And if they do poorly, I will say suggestions on how they could be fixable. This is episode of why it doesn't work. All right, let's get this on the road. Okay, so to start off, we have Oreo, Gatorade, Doritos, Charmand, and Skittles. Let's start with Oreo. I'm gonna go over to my trusty Instagram here. First, I'm gonna take a second to just think and analyze them. Then I'll give you a score. I'm gonna be honest, Oreo is kind of killing it. I went into this thinking this was going to be a lot worse, but so far it seems like they have a few content pillars. They have these limited edition drops. I think that's a smart way to kind of utilize. I mean, look at how many flavors they have. I think that will boost engagement. I see here they did a whole Post Malone collab with his alt accounts, Shaposti. I think as far as influencer integrations go for the audience that consumes Oreos, Post Malone actually makes quite a bit of sense. They have a shitpost content pillar, which as far as like this is pretty premier social marketing. Like this is obviously continuation of the spirit of fast food Twitter, where brands act as creators, but it's passing the sniff test, honestly. Their memes are not terrible. You know, just be yourself. Okay, which one? This kind of stuff works really well, as we can see. It's very ironic. July didn't get anything. Maybe that's a dig against Panthers. I gotta say this is at least A tier. I mean, as far as this style of branded social media goes, they seem to be at the upper crust. You know, what they're doing is executing a brand, like an ideal brand social strategy for what they are, which is, a snack food. They're relatable. They are, something that has a lot of childhood nostalgia attached to them. So this is kind of an aged up millennial, it hits a wide swath of just the online demo and it's fairly accessible. So they're not alienating anyone and they have enough sass where they're not like I don't know, they're not like that one KFC account, KFC Spanish, that's just fucking absolutely pushing it to the limit. I'd say A tier, largely because engagement looks real, content formats are clean, nothing kind of gave me the cringe, doesn't pass the sniff test. Not S tier because they're not doing anything that is redefining socials. Like Duolingo is someone, this is the bane of anyone who works in socials existence, but Duolingo is one of those S tier ones that, sets the meta and everyone copies. Everyone who's worked in socials has heard, can we be more like Duolingo? And duly so, no pun intended. Oreo is not there. I mean, Oreo, top of class for fast food Twitter S things, but I could probably find 4 or 5 other socials that are like run as cleanly as this. But we're starting off high. Let's hop over to our tier list. We're going to put Oreo at A tier. Next, we have Gatorade. So, as I dig into Gatorade, the thing that sticks out the most immediately is they are a very influencer and collab post heavy count. As you can see, they're sponsored athletes. Luka Doncic, apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. This is like one of their highest performing posts as of recent. But Gatorade has a slate of athletes, and the majority of their content revolves around these custom kind of hype videos of like showcasing the creator and then heavily emphasizing the association of Gatorade. This strategy, because you throw it with a collab post in front of the audience of the actual person, will make engagement go crazy. Now, downside of this is not everyone is Luca tier, so there is less engagement on particular posts. Let me find an example here. Da, 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 da. See, who are they collabing with here? Like IMG, Positive Coach. This is an example. Like when you do this collab post strategy, partially like you're not screwing up your own algorithm, but you are ultimately going to be behest to the people you're bringing into the collab. I think for Gatorade, this works because they are such a legacy entity, which is kind of one of their secondary strategies, which is this kind of like nostalgia of the company itself. They are like a Coca-Cola tier, beyond the fact that they're probably owned by Coca-Cola or one of those conglomerates. They are a Coca-Cola tier name recognition thing. So, they don't need to prove themselves all that much. So I'm honestly, I don't hate this strategy. It's not crazy inventive, but I do think it gets the job done. Additionally, I do like this thing where they're taking particular creators and giving them shows. This is an example with G Kittle. And just I'll skip back to the beginning of it just so y'all can see something I wanted to point out. But as you can see here, they have knowledge of the proper kind of aspect ratio of the screen. So we're looking at this on a computer, but on a phone, you want to block yourself from getting those UI elements on top of it. So they clearly know what they're doing, and I think honestly their strategy is only limited by the quality of influencers they can get. This kind of series angle is inventive, and I do think it's actually something cooler they could probably explore. But generally speaking, I'm gonna say this is a little bit lower than Oreo in terms of like holistic engagement across the board, but novel strategies, cleanly run social. I'm gonna have to put it in a B tier. This is one of the major reasons I'm bumping them down, but the AI gen prompt, like the engagement here is obviously faked, and they are using AI, which is cringe and bad. All of the AI trends that social brands are hopping on are bad. Pay artists, do real art. Major suggestions are I like that series they were doing. I think standardizing that format because they do tons of collabs with lower tier athletes. Not to denigrate these athletes, but not everyone's Luca. And frankly, I think if they standardized the format and made some sort of like really core, everyone's Professor G, or maybe there's some entity that's Professor G and everyone's hopping in that, you might be able to lift up certain athletes and then it becomes this thing that people are tuning into. Generally speaking, though, their socials are quite good. AI knocks them down a peg, and the inconsistency of the overarching strategy and the need for a cleaner on brand series format makes me put them at a B tier. Okay, next we have Doritos. Automatic point deducted because of the AI. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting extremely strong boosted post vibes here. I don't know who is seeing this and engaging with it, to be honest. Um, I also feel like this could have been a fucking video, to be honest. All right, Doritos, this is looking pretty bad. Handful of things. Number one, lean into the carousel content. Generally speaking, that is your highest performing meme content, and it allows you to string a narrative together. You can have little CTAs in there telling people to tag. The memes themselves are. It feels like y'all got like a meme page admin behind this because it gives like culturally aware, but sort of like phoning it in. Like everything seems either boosted. I would be surprised if some of these were not boosted because the engagement it's bad for your following and it seems fake. AI knocks you down a peg. It, it's very millennial, and I'm honestly like I'm a huge hater of mascot content that is not um, inventive. I think Duolingo kind of set the blueprint. Also, to bring them up a second time this episode, that's all this entire series is going to be about. They set the blueprint like 5 years ago. The mascot content reads as low effort and attempting to be like let's be very self-aware and do trends, but it just reads as something that would have been successful 3 years ago on TikTok. It is wholly unsuccessful now, as you can see by the engagement. I gotta say, holistically, very unimpressive Doritos. I have been trying to find redeeming qualities, and I found something which is gonna factor into my suggestions of what they do. One last hit on them. CEO of chips. This is like an old fucking TikTok joke. Everyone used to be the CEO of something and be like CEO of soda, the CEO of gardening, blah blah blah. Again, 3, 4 years old. This whole social just feels like, and the engagement follows. You're doing nothing exciting. You're doing nothing new. You're just like badly following a playbook that would have been effective 3 or 4 years ago. Frankly, because of all of this, I'm going to put you in the D tier for Doritos. Why isn't this working? There we go. Now, okay, what do I think could work for you? So basically, the highest engagement thing I've seen as of recent is this competition they did called Doritos Crash. Basically, a bunch of people submitted ideas for a Super Bowl commercial, and it ended up being this whole kind of cinematic thing. And that's what I remember from Doritos from my childhood is these very high effort ads. Additionally, like the semiotic of the cheese dust on the hand. What I'm getting to, the point I am trying to get to, though, is a new strategy that I've seen popping off over the past probably 4 or 5 months is these high tier cinematics, putting a lot more effort because the game is very level right now. Everyone knows the base strategies. No one is really trying to shake things up all that much. Like there seems to be just like a requisite brand kit that Oreo is executing very well. Doritos is executing rather poorly. So what you do have a chance to do though with this kind of like high tier cinematic thing and kind of the rise of short form or not short form, long form vertical movies is take your old commercial style, these like very dramatically lit things, get a team of filmmakers, put them on retainer, and do that. Do what the Doritos Crash thing was, but tell some ridiculous story. then you're kind of going this angle of if you look in the comment sections of an account like Red Bull, it's like they be doing everything but advertising their product. Now, that kind of is the core semiotic is this association with extreme sports and association with, you know, it gives you wings. You can do crazy shit when you drink Red Bull. It's like this, it's going to get you back fucking, give you that little boost of energy to get whatever it is you need to get done. Doritos, obviously way more lackadaisical thing. Like it's, you're on the couch, you're all fucking grubby, but you're munching out, I think munchies, weed, those kinds of vibes, which is actually the commercial I was watching is it's kind of got that stoner vibe. What the fuck is on the TV screen, like toned down Adult Swim. I say take your budget, whatever fraction of it you're spending on this fucking social team that's doing such an awful job, and invest in like a series of these things that tells some engaging, ridiculous story over the span of several cinematics, and obviously has Doritos as like a core integral part of it of the story, so you can drop these cameos constantly and reference new flavors and reference, you know, maybe there's a character who their whole fucking bit is that they have shit on their fingers, but do something unique that ties into the target demo you're trying to hit, which IMO, your core customer demo, is more of like someone who's going to sit on the couch and eat Doritos and watch Netflix or something. I think this is an interesting way also to kind of like reinvigorate. There is this outpouring of comedy on social media as opposed to in movies. I think you can kind of like fit into that middle niche that Almost Friday operates in and make high tier, funny things that just subtly place like kind of how they used to do product placement. But that will create this umbrage effect because Doritos, much like Gatorade and Oreo, these are established enough brands where you don't need to like force yourself down everyone's throats. And then additionally, it's just this added layer of like, look at how cool and innovative what they're doing on socials is. And then there's this extra kind of brand affinity of, you know, thinking Doritos are cool and in touch with the youth and like sponsoring and bolstering creators. IMO Doritos Crash, extrapolating and building a content pillar on top of this as a recurring thing, making it part of your core social strategy is the most interesting thing on this page. That would help you get away from this dreaded D tier and improve your memes. They're fucking terrible. All right, next we have Charmin. Oh my god, the engagement is absolutely brutal. Fucking mascot content. I swear to God, I hate brands doing mascot content. I think mascot content absolutely bottom of the barrel, low effort shit. Just putting your mascot and doing some random ass trend. It doesn't work. It does not work anymore. And the Charmin bears are iconic, frankly. The Charmin bears and their obsession with shitting. Your entire meme was your entire fucking profile has been beaten by one meme, one tweet that's like, why do these bears love shitting so much? And these commercials are iconic. This is sad that you have these beautiful animated things that have a story and have like elements of a family. And instead you're doing this kind of low effort graphic content that's getting fucking 63 likes. This might need to go below D tier if there's an option. Seems like they're trying to target um, relationships with prevent the dump, you know, dumping someone. That is interesting. I don't know if people in relationships, I guess in their heads, they're thinking like young adults are buying toilet paper in their apartments for the first time and they might be dating someone and they're going to preferentially pick Charmin. Honestly, I think this is kind of stupid. Um, this collab post struck me as a lot smarter. Brittany seems to be a mom hawk, mummy influencer, and that makes a little bit more sense to me. I think the angle of like eco consciousness with the Charmin stuff, I highly doubt it's very eco friendly. But honestly, I'm thinking moms buying toilet paper are probably gonna have more like solid brand affinity. I think if I'm a young person, I'm just like whatever's cheapest. Um, this is a non terrible collab post. They're hiding likes because it probably didn't do very well, but at least it's targeting a demo a little bit more effectively. I would say dump this whole prevent the dump thing. I don't know if relationship couples are your target demo here. Just for reference, this is what I'm speaking about. Um, I would totally watch this in fucking short form. I think this is how you fix it. I think you fire whatever team is doing this and you have a boardroom meeting and you decide to reinvest and you decide to invest in a long term story that allows you to do animations and tie in trendy things. Because obviously, like, that seems to be all normie brands can think about doing is just find whatever fucking holiday is about to happen or find whatever meme, the fucking Ashton Hall water bottle thing. Like, I'd like to see fucking the Charmin Bears doing that. I think that could be kind of amusing for the scale of what you're doing. They're drinking their fucking Saratoga water and they just go to the bathroom like 15 times inside of their morning routine. This is so fucking low effort. All right, D tier also. This is brutal. I'm sorry, Charmand, but we're going on to our last one now. Skittles. I'm gonna take a quick second to shit on holiday posts. I think this type of shit is so stupid. Generally speaking, the algorithm on Instagram in particular, and most social platforms, maximally is going to push you out over the first like 1, 2, 3 days. Things can get repicked back up, but think with me here for a second. When you post a holiday post for a 1 day thing, that what happens in those other 2 days? The engagement drops off drastically, and then it loses its ability to actually go viral. So first things first, this was posted day of New Year's. This would have had to been posted like on the 30th if you even want to hit that window. And then if you're gonna do that, you need to think everyone is trying to do the same types of holiday shit. So if you're gonna do it, you have to be funny as fuck. This is stupid and boring. I'm sorry, guys. A lot of shit on here is really low effort. Frankly, like I really think you should steer away from the meme angle with most of this stuff. Like this is probably the funniest thing they've done, and it's like a fucking old redone joke. Steer away from the meme stuff unless you have like an amazing team for that. I will say the booming voice of Taste the Rainbow and this fucking style of thing here.
Are they contagious?
I don't think so.
Contract the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
This is good. Honestly, one of the proposed strategies that comes to mind is you have an opportunity. So the two predominant social strategies I'm seeing win in 2025. One is high tier cinematics and like super high tier effort where you're like building universes and crazy lore building, number one. Number two, shit posting at the speed of light. I would love to see a brand post 10 times a day. And that is the vibe of brain rot. And frankly, there's a whole thing right now, as people are calling it dirt talk. I'm just going to call it loosely brain rot holistically, where people just spam text and it's just these morphing brain rot terms every single day. The New York Knicks have really pioneered the style. There's a handful of sports teams that do this, that do the brain rot posting. I think the fact that you have a discernible font and voice, being able to narrate said brain rot diatribes and have them in a one recognizable voice with a taste of rainbow, blah 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 blah. And you can do your own font. I think that's interesting. Post like fucking 100 times a day on TikTok where you're just shit posting these random terms. I think that's interesting if you're trying to reach kids. Second thing, this is just holistic takeaway from the entire profile, but basically Skittles popped. So one of the big things in candy right now is freeze-dried candy. If you've been to a gas station, you've probably seen freeze-dried products that are sold by small producers. Now, kind of a joke here, and I think they're getting at this a little bit. And I read it in the comments that people thought it was funny, but basically, all of these candy producers are just buying, mass amounts of a regular candy, Starburst, Skittles, then they freeze dry them, then they resell them. I think there's an angle here that's extremely funny where they're like creating a whole fucking fake interaction with these entities, either working with them actually, the top candy producers. I think there's probably a lot of legal red tape around that, so I'm not going to suggest that, but engaging with them, acting like, Big Skittle is going to come after them, or, if you're going to launch your own thing here, like, be self-aware to the fact that this is one of the most viral things is like make your own spoof videos and kind of two other strategies just immediately come to mind. One is they could be killing it on fucking TikTok shop. Like basically TikTok shop live streams. I have a video about this on the channel, but this has only grown since I spoke about it a year and a half ago. And this is where most of these freeze dried candy people are selling their stuff is they do one story time videos where they like narrate something about their boss telling them something and they're freeze drying in the background, or it's like we had too many orders and we did this. The other is they just fucking do it on a live stream and they're like showing the candy and showing how crunchy it is. Frankly, if you have budget and these are actually people cutting into your bottom line and you're operating on launching a new one, which it seems like they have a whole influencer campaign for the drop of Skittles Popped, they need to be basically spoofing and like riffing off of the shit that already works, which is these story times and dumping in the fact that they are Skittles, that they invented this. Frankly, they have an opportunity. There's an entire organic genre of content out there where they could start to jump in and interact. And a lot of these people would probably want to be in the good graces of Skittle because they are just like operating on reselling a slightly modified version of the product. I don't know where the legal red tape in that area is, but I don't know. Ranking wise, this is a D right now. I think the brain rot strategy could be good for them. I think the TikTok shop strategy could be good for them. Lastly, I think this is kind of a weird novel thing too, but like basically last idea for them is brands will do these CPM buys where they will like put their watermark. Base Body Works is actually a good example of this where they will put their stuff on content and they're basically like looking for matching genres of content to basically attach their own existing watermark and product line, and you can set up deals with creators at very low CPMs. This is a little bit too beyond probably what they want to do for Skittles Pop, but there's all these content creators making freeze dry candy content. You could put them on some really low CPM plan and just put Skittles Pop there. Obviously, not all of them are going to do it, but I'm sure you could find people who aren't going to do Skittles Pops or send them cease and desists or something along those lines. This is obviously very evil business practices I'm suggesting, but I'm just saying there is an existing entire content genre out there that they could be studying and learning and morphing their strategy around, and they're choosing instead to do very low effort kind of millennial social manager stuff. Um, just mid, mid. Um, yeah, okay. Another D tier for the books. All right, wrapping this up. Guys, let me know what you think about this format. I'd love to talk about all kinds of socials, be that unsuccessful or successful influencers, your own projects. I do this for a living. I love thinking about this kind of stuff, and I'd like to make more content like this, but happy to hear any suggestions down below. Also, if you want to hire me to do this, I have a website. Check out the link in the description.
It is what it is.